We like to think that our architecture is actually an infrastructure for people, for functions, and for public space. I'm going to talk to you about a project which is called the Public Condenser. It's a multifunctional building on a campus south of Paris. It's called Saclay campus. It's a huge campus. And what we like with multifunctional buildings actually is that you mix functions, and it's a way for us to try to understand the different relations between these functions and try to invent new typologies. The question we ask ourselves also when we design a building is, what can we give that was not in the program? What can we give else, something they didn't think of? And maybe what can we remove, what's something that's not necessary for the project? But also, what is the relation of the project to the neighbor, to the context? What does it function in the context? What does it give to the neighborhood? So this project, you see, it's in the small rectangular dot marked here. It's a small project, but it was actually the first one in this huge campus. And it is probably a very strong statement of the public planners to say that the first building in the whole campus is going to be a public building with public functions for the students, for the researchers, and the people that will come and work and live there. We had a site which is, well, not much bigger than what you see there. And, well, we said, let's try to make the footprint as small as possible and condense all the functions in order to give an extra square on the south side and align the building in the future street patterns that didn't exist yet. So it was for us quite important to think of an urban building before there was an urban context. So this project is combined, it combines different functions. It combines a small restaurant, it combines a bigger restaurant with a big kitchen, it combines sports, indoor sports equipment, dance rooms, fitness rooms, and exterior basketball fields. I mean, it's a way, I mean, the building is it feels naked. I mean, you see the functions, you see the people preparing the food in the kitchen, you see the people dancing. I mean, you don't hide. You show what the functions are, and that's it. It's like a skeleton of a person is the structure of the building, and then you have a skin just covering what's needed, and actually the flesh is the people going through the building, and it feels like sometimes the building is completely empty, like a football stadium could be completely empty, but when you have like 50,000 people inside, it's a completely different building. And this building is planned like a 24-hour building because you have the different functions that are stacked up in this big concrete shelf. Basically, to go through the functions, I mean, not so many. On the bottom left ground floor, you have a part of the kitchen, fridges and stuff like that, delivery. On the right side, you have the small cafe. On the first floor, on the left side, you have all the technical equipments that usually you have on the roof, but because we wanted to have basketball courts on top of the roof, I mean, we put them there. We have on the right side, on the first floor, it's a space that was not asked for, that we gave extra for free in a way, because we said maybe they can use it for exhibitions or something else. Then on the second floor, you have the main kitchen where you prepare the food. On the right side, you have the big double height with where you eat. And on the left side, you have you see the people dancing. You have two indoor sports room with dance and fitness. And then on the top, you have the sports basketball courts. I mean, when you look at the section and the facade, it's exactly the same. What you see is just this big infrastructural structure. The beams are big, they not optimized, and we wanted them not to be optimized. We wanted them to feel heavy, very heavy, on these thin columns. And you see inside the building you have a staircase. When I talked about removing functions, we removed from the brief the entrance hall. We said we don't want an entrance hall. We don't want the building to be closed at 6 o'clock in the evening and there is nobody. So we said we remove the entrance hall and we make a public vertical connection that goes through the complete building. So we have this big staircase, which is much wider than actually needed by fire regulation. But we said it's like an extension of the public space. On the left you have the square, and on the right side you have the street. And so you can enter the building and access all the different functions almost 24 hours a day. I mean, they're not active the whole 24 hours a day, but certain times. I mean, the small cafe is open from very early in the morning till very late in the evening. We thought it could even be, you know, kind of in this night shop where you go and buy a bottle of alcohol in the evenings when everything is closed. And this staircase, well, it goes through all the building and it goes really to the top of the roof, and it gives access to the different functions. Also, one of the functions we removed that was in the competition brief, they wanted the exhibition hall. We said maybe we can use the restaurant room as an exhibition space, and save the space for something else. The structure for us is very present, very dominant, very. I mean, when you you really feel that the structure is heavy because it's quite. I mean, the height below the pillar, the columns is 2.20 meters, which is. I mean, you really, when you go under it, you really feel the weight of the building. And it was also for us a way to organize the functions, because you can put all the functions in between the structure, in between these kind of virtual rooms created by the beams, and have all the horizontal circulations along the facade, where you have a relation between the outside and the inside. You have the square on the left side, and then you see faintly between the glass on the right side, you have this inner staircase. And it's funny about this staircase, because it's an exterior space, but inside the building. It was also a small trick for the fire department to tell them, I mean, it's an exterior space, so we didn't have to, close everything. So we like to play, we're a bit borderline on the regulations and stuff like that, but it's a way to push the project. And then you come on top of the building. It's maybe one of the only buildings that has a kind of huge terrace with a view on the landscape on the campus. This is the staircase going out the exterior space. And the people. Well, the people, it's actually, we were very happy when we finished the buildings and we saw that the students really came up there and played. And I mean, for us it was a kind of an achievement, because it's a guess. Will the people use this vertical space? Will the people go on this roof? And actually, yes, they do. They come. They use this extra space we put on the first floor to have these games, and it's just space where people can hang out, and that we kind of gave extra to the project. What we like about the project is in a way it looks like it's not finished, and it's kind of the idea that maybe a building can have different lives, maybe the functions can change, in a way. And then we thought about these nice pictures. It's constructions in the south of Italy. They're, I don't think, and we don't know if they're ruined, if they're finished, or if they just, if the project is on pause, and they still might go on. Well, we are kind of optimistic, so we said it's just pause. They press the pause button, and they will go on. And I mean, when we look at these images, I mean, we imagine a lot of projects, possibilities around these existing structures. Thank you very much.